At 7 a.m. on August 22, 2025, FBI agents entered the Maryland home and Washington office of former National Security Advisor John Bolton. The searches, carried out under a federal warrant, became immediate headline news. Bolton, once at the apex of U.S. national security, carries heavy political baggage. He is both an insider and an outspoken critic of Donald Trump, a combination that made this raid instantly charged. His memoir and the legal battles that followed are part of the backstory. But this is about more than documents. It's about fairness and whether law enforcement is politicized. In a polarized nation, every high-profile investigation tests public trust. We'll unpack who Bolton is, what the warrant says, the legal landscape, and the political fallout. John Bolton rose through Republican foreign policy circles, a persistent advocate of hardline action. He pushed for preemptive policies and was a key voice behind the Iraq War. He served in GOP administrations from Reagan through George W. Bush, later joining Trump's team in 2018. His tenure as National Security Advisor was short and contentious, clashing with allies and the president. After leaving in 2019, his memoir painted Trump as impulsive, triggering lawsuits and political fury. Bolton is a paradox, a hawk who later became a high-profile critic of Trump. That identity matters. It shapes how people interpret the raid. A date and time, August 22nd, about 7 a.m. locations, Bolton's Bethesda residence and his D.C. office. Searches were authorized under a federal warrant, but authorities have not confirmed seizures. Bolton has not been arrested or charged. The investigation remains under seal. The FBI is led by Director Kash Patel, a polarizing figure in Washington since February 2025. Patel is a longtime Trump loyalist, known for reshaping intelligence after the prior investigations. Reports say Bolton is among several critics who face scrutiny under Patel's FBI, raising questions. Supporters argue enforcement is necessary. Critics see selective targeting. Understanding the legal context helps explain why this matters. 2 sites searched, residence and office, a pattern familiar in classified document probes. Next, how U.S. law treats classified documents, and precedent that informs prosecutions. First, the Presidential Records Act governs White House records, but enforcement is weak. Second, the Espionage Act is often central to prosecutions when national defense information is mishandled. Third, look to precedent. Past prosecutions set expectations. David Petraeus pleaded guilty in 2015 for sharing classified materials with his biographer. Sandy Berger was sanctioned for removing classified documents from the National Archives. And recent probes involving former presidents show how politically sensitive these cases are. The Bolton raid rattles distinct constituencies and feeds partisan narratives. For Trump allies, it looks like accountability. For critics, selective targeting. The investigation reportedly began earlier, but the execution under Patel intensifies political scrutiny. Either outcome, prosecution or no charges, carries consequences for public trust. We'll next look at how allies and rivals view such moves by U.S. institutions. Foreign governments watch closely. Allies look for stability, rivals seize narratives of dysfunction. Some allies worry about reliability. Rivals may use the story to attack U.S. credibility. Diplomatic relationships depend on perceived stability of institutions. Bolton's team says he's cooperating and denies wrongdoing. Analysts expect Bolton may frame the raid as politically motivated, turning the case into a free speech defense. Online reaction is split, amplifying the political stakes. One path: evidence leads to charges under espionage or related statutes. 2. No significant fines. The operation could appear politically motivated and backfire. 3. Prolonged investigation keeps Bolton under suspicion, eroding trust without resolution. At stake is more than one case. It's whether citizens trust institutions to act fairly. If law enforcement becomes a political tool, democratic norms suffer. If accountability is absent, security erodes. If weaponized, democracy erodes. Both are dangerous. John Bolton is not charged today. The investigation is ongoing. What happens next will shape perceptions of justice and the rule of law in post-Trump America. Subscribe for continuing coverage. This is Pulse News International Desk. From Washington, stay informed.